Recently, Salon had this great interview with a former model for Calvin Klein and other fashion designers, including Chanel. Her name is Sara Ziff, and she was speaking out against the fashion industry. So the fashion industry has gotten a lot of heat because of body image issues and because of the way models are treated. A lot of them have eating disorders. In fact, according to Ziff's analysis, about 64% of models have been told by their managers that they need to lose weight. Well, she wanted to shine light on other issues within the industry, and I think that they're really fascinating, especially when it comes to teenagers working as models. So she tells Salon the following: often teenage girls who are 14, 15, 16 are cast to model clothing that's marketed to women. They haven't really developed hips or breasts. They're valued for that sort of androgynous, tall, skinny look. And so they're often, working in an adult environment with adult pressures that they don't have the maturity to handle. And they're also pressured to maintain that physique, which in most cases is almost impossible. And that's where she says the majority of the eating disorders develop. Because as a teenager, you don't have, well, if you're a skinny model, you don't have much meat on your bones, right? As you get older, you start to fill out. And a lot of these girls feel a lot of pressure to prevent that from happening.
Yeah. Just when I thought I couldn't dislike the fashion industry anymore, I'm actually surprised that the number is only 64% for pressure to, lose weight. I would have thought it was 98%. What I can't understand are the parents who allow their kids to go into this industry. I mean, you think the movie industry and the TV industry is bad? Wait till you get a load of the fashion industry. I mean, unbelievable pressure, the pressure to do liposuctions. And,
yes.
I mean, it's insanity. What are you doing to your kids? And then you got these people who are taking advantage of them, as Anna's going to explain. Get them out of that industry. You're nuts.
I think that it kind of speaks to the obsession with wealth and fame, right? Because a lot of people out there want the wealth and the fame regardless of what they have to do to get it. You have some no-name people doing sex tapes, and that was like the beginning of it. And then now you see other symptoms of that obsession. So she also said that she had spoken to models who don't get their period anymore because they put their body through so much to try to stay thin. And also when it comes to sexual coercion, she touches on that a little bit, which I thought was interesting. And I didn't think that this was legal, but apparently some models who are underage do pose topless in some instances. And according to her, I remember being 14 years old and put in situations on shoots where I was asked to pose topless. And I know it might sound strange, but I didn't know that I couldn't say no. And I knew that it didn't feel right, but I just wanted to be liked, and I was surrounded by adults in positions of authority.
Great. On top of all the other problems, add in perverts who think, oh, it's hard for me to convince an adult to take off their top, but I can convince this 14-year-old to take off her top.
Right. Now, obviously, those topless photos or whatever aren't going to make it for commercial use. But in these cases, they're
going somewhere.
They're going somewhere, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So, listen, I've talked about this before, and then I've taken a lot of heat for it, but I don't care. And, I've doubled down, I'll triple down, okay? There's something dramatically wrong with the industry. If you just want, people to look like hangers, just use hangers, right? And why don't you try selling clothes for human beings instead of hangers, right? And so they're obsessed with the super skinny people, and then they abuse them, and they get into psychological issues. They're doing, all these surgeries, plastic surgeries, Botox, etc., on kids under 18. They take their top off. It's in so many ways a sickening industry. Yeah.
So this is obviously anecdotal evidence. I don't know how widespread this is within the fashion industry, but the doctor I go to is also a dermatologist, right? So she's my primary care physician. She was telling me that sometimes she'll have really, really young people come in, teenagers asking for Botox, and their parents sign off for it. And the reason why they do that is because they're in the modeling industry, and they do it as a preventative measure. They want to prevent wrinkles from happening in the future, which is absolutely crazy, because if you're 16 years old, you have no business getting Botox. That's absolutely ridiculous.
This is George Bush's fault. We have to preemptively attack the wrinkles. We have to attack them over there before they attack us over here. Okay, this is crazy. But look, I'm sure there are lovely parts of the fashion industry, and there are people who care about that topic, and I hope that you can cover it in a decent way. I wouldn't mind covering it in a decent way, right? And I don't mind people who work in that industry and And of course, there are plenty of them with morals and ethics and all that stuff, right? But it's a sign of our culture that we become so obsessed with beauty and appearance and fame and wealth, as you pointed out, that we drive ourselves crazy, and they're just an outward expression of that cultural sickness.